की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्यामा कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। मथुरापुरी धाम की जय। वृंदावन मायापुर धाम की जय। नवद्वीप धाम की जय। गंगा माई जमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की जय। जामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल। All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Hare Bol. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnapadaaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. So today we are reading Canto 3, Chapter 5 and text number 21. So I will recite some prayers before we start the shloka. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasa tato jaya mudiraye nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistuki shurvatam swakatha krishna punya shravana kirtanah hridayantasto hi abhadrani vidanoti sratsatam. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sharnavadi Paschatya Desh Tarine. So I will recite the shlok for 3 times. Bhavan Bhagavato Nityam Sammataha Sanubhashyaha Yasya Jnanopadeshaya Madishad Bhagavan Vrajan. Bhavan Bhagavato Nityam Sammataha Sanubhashyaha Yasya Jnanopadeshaya Madishad Bhagavan Vrajan. Bhagavan Bhagavato Nityam Sammataha Sanugashyaha Yasya Jnanopadeshaya Madishad Bhagavan Vrajan. Please recite.
Bhavan Bhagavato Nityam Sammata Sanugasya Yasya Jnanopadeshaya Madishad Bhagavan Vrajan.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Bhagavan Bhagavato Nityam Sammataha Shagunashaha Yasya Ganopadeshaya Madishad Bhagavan Bhajan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Bhavan Bhagavato Nityam Sammataha Sanugasya Yasya Jnanopadeshaya Madishad Bhagavan Vrajan.
Anyone else?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Bhavan Bhagavato Nityam Samataha Sanugasyaha Yasya Jnanopadeshaya Madishad Bhagavan Vrajan. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we will go word to word translation. Bhavan, your good self. Bhagavatah, of the personality of Godhead, Nityam, eternal, Sammatah, recognized, Sa Anugashya, one of the associates, Ha, have been, Yashya, of whom, Jnana, knowledge, Upadeshaya, for instructing, Ma, unto me, Adishat, so ordered, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Rajan, while returning to his abode. Abode. Translation. Your good self is one of the eternal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For those for whose sake the Lord, while going back to his abode, while instructing, left instructions with me. Purport. Yamraj, the great controller of the life after death, decides the living entity's destination. In their next lives, he is surely among the most confidential representative of the Lord. Such confidential posts are offered to great devotees of the Lord who are as good as eternal associates in the spiritual sky. And because Vidura happened to be among them, the Lord, while returning to Vaikuntha, left instructions for Vidur with Maitreya Muni. Generally, the eternal associates of the Lord in the spiritual sky do not come to the material world. Sometimes they come, however, by the order of the Lord, not to hold any administrative post, but to associate with the Lord in person or to propagate the message of the God in human society. Such empowered representatives are called Shakti-Aves avatars or incarnations invested with transcendental attorney of the Lord. Shakti-Aves avatar are incarnations invested with the transcendental power of attorney. Om Agyan Thimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruvaya Namaha Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunnavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kathamayam Tadapi Swakadantritam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrashabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriya Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Thank you very much for giving me this great opportunity to glorify Srimad Bhagavatam today. So we will go through the translation and purport one more time, and then we'll try to explain. So the translation one more time. Your good self is one of the eternal associates of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for whose sake the Lord, while going back to his abode, left instructions with me. So here we are reading the conversation between Vidur and Maitreya Muni. So in this shloka, Maitreya Muni is telling that you are so lucky that you are as good as the eternal associate of the Lord. So the eternal associates of the Lord sometimes come to this material world, and they help Lord in his Leela. So for that sake, actually, they come here on the order of the Lord only. And also, it's written in the purport that they come to, they don't take any position in the material world, but they come only to associate with the Lord. Also, sometimes they are ordered to preach, and they preach actually sometime. So That's what their main purpose is, to come in this material world. So not to hold any administrative purpose, and to associate with the Lord and send the message of the Lord in the human society. So we can see in the, like Rup Goswami came, he came for the spread the message of the Lord. Narottam Das Goswami also came for the same reason, to spread the message of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada also came, and he also spread the message of the Lord. And we can see the eternal associates of the Lord, like Madhumangal. He came, but he came in this material world to associate with Krishna in person. So there's a difference between the people, who come from the spiritual world, and people who are from this material world. They are Jiva souls, and those Jiva souls, by order of Lord, they take part. They get special power from the Lord, which is called Shaktavesh Avatar. So we will discuss about Shaktavesh Avatar and at the end of the discussion. So it's very important to understand, that the Shaktavesh Avatars, how the Lord makes them, and what is their purpose, and how many kinds they are, and how Lord invests his energy. Lord can empower somebody to do his duties. And so that's the way Lord really arranges this whole world. This whole world is creation of the Lord, and he can do anything he wants in this material world. So here in the purport, Prabhupada is writing that Yamraj, the greatest controller of the life after death. So Vidurji was, as we read before several times, that he was Yamraj in the previous life. And Yamraj he's the greatest soul. He is Dharmaraj himself, and he decides all the living entities' future, where they go, what punishment they will get if they did bad things, and if he goes to the upper planetary system or lower planets, Patalok, or he suffers, he should be thrown in with the snakes, or he should be thrown in the boiling oil, or things like that. He decides all their future, and where he takes birth next time, which mother. So he decides all those things, and that's the way Yamraji has very great role to play, and Lord is very happy with him. So Prabhupada is writing, he is surely among the most confidential representative of the Lord. So he is really very confidential representative of the Lord. Lord is very happy with him. Such confidential posts are offered to the great devotees of Lord, who are as good as the eternal associates of Lord. So even Jiva souls, sometimes they are as good as the eternal associates who live in the spiritual world, like Nitya Siddhas. So Nitya Siddhas actually do not come in this material world, but sometimes by order of Lord they can come. But most of the time, Lord himself, selects some good Jiva souls who are very elevated in the bhakti, and engage them in his leelas, and also different administrative posts in this material world. So he selects the people. So if there is some post like Lord Shiva or Brahmas, these posts are actually, Lord puts the Jivas also there. And like Yamraj also is a post. So it's a Jiva soul there. Because Nitya Siddhas actually do not take any post in this material world or any universe, they normally do not. So somebody has any post, he is definitely Jiva soul. So we will discuss later on about how many kind of Jiva souls and how many different posts they can take. So generally, the eternal associated Lord in the spiritual sky do not come to the material world. Sometimes they do come, however, by the order of the Lord, not to hold any administrative post, but to associate with the Lord in person. Or sometimes they can come for propagating the message of the Lord in the human society. Like we can see Srila Prabhupada came, he was empowered person. His Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, or his father, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, they all were great representative of the Lord, and they had the Shakti given by the Lord, and that's why they could do so much. Otherwise, we can see from Prabhupada's life, one single person didn't know anything about USA, and he He built so many temples, made so big society. So without empowerment from the Lord, nobody can do it. We have seen, even to make one temple, build one building takes 10 years, In 10 years, he made 108 temples and he wrote so many books, he spread so much. So this is the power, empowerment given by the Supreme Lord. So the Jiva soul can perform his duty on behalf of the Lord, because Lord wanted to that way. That's why Lord invests his all energies there in that particular Saptavaya South incarnation, and he gives them power to perform those duties. So we can see how Lord actually performs his duty. So we can see here the Vidurji was so great personality that about him in Srimad Bhagavatam, Yudhishthir Maharaj said very nice verse in the first canto in 13th chapter. He said, Bhavata Vida Bhagavatas Tirtha Bhuta Swayam Vibho Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani Swantah Sthena Gada Brata. So he's telling that your presence is like holy personified Tirtha. So Tirtha Kurvanti Tirthani. So he said, you are the personified Tirth yourself. So when this kind of great souls go to Tirtha, actually, they even purify the Tirtha. So this is the greatness of those things, because those great personalities, actually, they always carry the Tirtha in their heart. They carry Krishna in their heart, actually. Therefore, whatever they say or whatever they relive, to that person, actually, then that person actually gets in contact with Krishna directly. So this is the power of the great personality of Godhead. So what do you want, actually? In our life, we have to see, we should always want to associate with such kind of pure devotees. And even in the Tirtha we go, we should actually meet these devotees who are the great souls and try to get knowledge from them. That is the actually purpose of going to Tirtha. Otherwise, if we have the same consciousness even in the Tirtha, then it's no use, actually. We can do the same bhakti even sitting at our home. So Vidura actually came to preach. We know that Vidura came back after the Mahabharata war to preach the Dhritarashtra. So he should give his crazy desires and stop trying to find peace actually in this world, because in this material world, actually there is no peace, because peace is in our heart. Actually, we should be self-realized, and that is the real peace. If you see, if I go there, I can study more, or I can read more, or I can concentrate more. So that's not true, actually. We should see that in any condition, person can do bhakti. Sometimes we wait, okay, let the new year come and then I will start this thing or start that thing. You can start now, right now. There is nobody can stop us to do that, because it doesn't depend. Actually, Prabhupada's guru, Bhakti Siddhanta, told him, Prabhupada was telling, we are under the white people, and these Britishers, and let us get our country free, and then we can spread more. And he said, no, you should not wait for any political or any other situations, actually. You could do it right now. So we should nothing should stop trying. So we should not stop trying to find peace in this world, and then we should do our bhakti. There will be no peace in this material world. This material world is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. So how the peace will come here? But we should actually trying to take the shelter of Krishna. That's the most important thing. This is the meaning of the bona fide sadhu. If we associate with the bona fide sadhus, then we will know, actually, that where is the real peace. And that's what we have to learn, actually, that we should not try to see that, okay, let me get this and I will be happy, let me get this and I will be happy. We will never be happy in this material world, actually. Sadhu who does not preach the message, because there are so many sadhus in this material world, so who does not preach the message of the Lord, he is only the sadhu for the namesake only. There is no quality in that. So we see so many sadhus, actually. So we have to figure out, actually, and it's all our, on our luck also, and our mentality that found to find a pure sadhu, because sometimes we can get a sadhu actually, who is sense enjoyer and he's so that kind of person, we should not get in touch, otherwise our whole life will be spoiled. So we have to be careful with that also. And if we want any fortune or any treasure, that okay, let me get money, let me get good car, let me get good wife. So this thing, we should not be seeking for those persons, who want this kind of things. We should actually seek the person who is self-realized, and we should see that how his life is being expanded, how much he's listening to his guru, following his guru, and we should see that he is not behind these things, money and the car and all those things. Otherwise, but we should also not judge at the same time. Who are we to judge anybody? Actually, we should not judge anybody, but we should study about that person before following him properly. So we should see that how to find peace in this world. That's the most important thing. Not in this material world actually, but find the peace in our own heart. That is most important thing, because we should not go behind the peace of this world actually. So these words actually was spoken by Yudhishthira Maharaj to his uncle Vidur. And Yudhishthira Maharaj was so pious man. He was Dharmaraj himself. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the purport that Lord himself all the time stays with the pure devotees of Lord because of their unalloyed devotional service, because they have so pure service that Lord all the time stays in their heart. And that kind of devotional service actually is not tinged by any kind of material desires or anything, and they do the pure bhakti. So without any tinge of putative desire or any material speculation. Anyabhilata shita sunyam jnana karmanavrata. So this kind of bhakti is the pure bhakti, and it should be anukulena krishnanu shilanam bhakti uttamam. So this is the uttam bhakti, and we have to perform that kind of bhakti. So those people who perform this kind of bhakti, they are pure souls, and they are always in the service of the Lord, especially by the process of hearing and chanting. Hearing and chanting is the most important thing in the bhakti, and we have to see that we are hearing properly, as many classes as possible, read Srila Prabhupada's books and chanting properly in the morning in the Brahma Muhurta. Because sometimes we think, okay, I'm busy in the morning, I have to go to work. But let me tell you one thing I heard in many classes, that the chanting done in the Brahma Muhurta has so much potency in itself. Because later on, potency by the day time goes, decreases. In the afternoon, potency is less than half. And in the evening time, 1/4. In the night time, you do it, you feel so sleepy and tired, and it doesn't help actually. So best thing, if you can get up like 4:30 and finish by 6:30, then that is the best chanting actually. And we can feel ourselves after chanting, that where I was concentrating on God's name and how good we feel after chanting. So that thing is very important. So we can see in the Bhagavatam, we can see the description, the compassion and the kindness of the devotees like Vidur. We can see how he comes back to Dhritarashtra. His only one purpose was there after the Mahabharata, He didn't came to live in the palace or anything again. He came just to be compassionate on his brother, who was elder brother Dhritarashtra, to give him some proper knowledge and take him back to Krishna. So this is the purpose. This is the purpose of the Paramhansa. They all the time feel that people should get actually good destination. And we can find, that devotees actually got so many bad things in the life, but they don't see that it's Krishna is giving them, they see that this may be our previous work or something. Like we can see how Pandavas were embracing a disgraceful situation. They were put by the Kauravas, how they were actually, how they suffered all their life. And actually we see they were real friend of Krishna, relative of Krishna, so they don't deserve these things, but still sometimes things happen. We can see even many great yogis, great devotees, great souls, even our Srila Prabhupada suffered so much. And when at the last moment, how lean and thin he was and how weak, but still he was translating Srimad Bhagavatam. So we can see his greatness. Like if somebody else is there, we can see even the present acharyas like Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, how till the last moment he was actually engaged in bhakti and preaching. And we can see Jai Pataka Maharaj is the living example actually how is all health wise, he's all odds conditions actually, all conditions are bad. He had transplantation of liver, transplantation of kidney, transplant. So many transplant is still, he's so enthusiastic in preaching and traveling. So he's still continuing. If somebody else was there, he will say, I'm so tired of this thing, let me just take rest, and chant myself, But he actually, the great souls actually do not think about themselves. They think about what will help this moment, what will help, how I can serve Srila Prabhupada. So that is the actually mood of a pure devotees. Even the Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was the embodiment of Dharma. He was Dharmaraj Yudhishthira. And he never deviated from the truth. Still he suffered so much. We can see Prahlad Maharaj, how much he suffered. Even by his own father, he gave him so much trouble. So all these examples are right in front of our eyes, and we can see how the Lord, how the great people concentrate on their bhakti rather than worrying about all these material problems. Dukhalayam, this material body, Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. There is problems, one after other problem, every step there are problems. So throughout this history, throughout all the lands, we can see people are so greedy and greedy for the control and wealth, and they can do anything to even good people, So we should not worry about these things. And so we can find Dhritarashtra, actually, he was not a bad king, actually. He was a noble king. And his son Duryodhana also had many good qualities, but they have one great anartha. And what anartha was that? That they had in their heart, there was greed for the power and the greed for control. They wanted to control everybody. And this quality actually made them go to the ashes. They were killed, and this is the problem actually. So if we have greed, Kam, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, these things actually, these six are anarthas in all humans. So we should try to give up one after other and try to stay. So when these anarthas goes away from our body, our mind, then we can be more peaceful. So real peace comes, when we give up all these anarthas and concentrate on the Lord. And that if we are self-realized, then we will know that these problems will not bother us. Actually, when we see that in bhakti, nobody gives guarantee that you will not have any trouble. You can get trouble all your life, even in bhakti. So we should not worry about the trouble, actually. And all the Shastra says that you can suffer a lot also as a devotee. And we see so many examples here in Bhagavatam. So those Pandavas actually were so great devotees of the Lord, but still so many people were behind them. The Kauravas actually wanted to defame them and give them wanted to even kill them. And we see how they were given poison right from the childhood. There was so much rumors were spread against them, and there were a lot of propaganda against them also. So and they were burnt to ashes actually in the Lakshagraha. That was the intention of Duryodhana. But luckily, Vidurji, who is so noble person, who actually got them out, he opened the tunnel, he made the tunnel, and then he sent them out in the forest through the tunnel. So this is the greatness of the great devotee like Vidur, who took care of all the Pandavas all their life actually. And Also, we can see that when the Pandavas were banished to the forest for 14 years, Kunti Maharani was taken care by Vidurji, and who was the mother of all the Pandavas. And actually, if you see Kunti's life, she suffered a lot all her life, but she all the time remembered Supreme Lord and tell that give me more and more vipatti so we can see have your darshan. So this is the greatness of the great devotees. They are willing to accept any kind of inconvenience. There is no problem with them. And they want to accept the grace of the God. They think, this problem is due to the grace of the Lord actually, because so that I can remember the Lord more. Because whenever we are in the problem, vipatti, vipda, we all the time remember the Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord. So that's why when we are very happy, we try to forget the Lord. And we can see Kunti Devi, that's why she is telling the Lord, please give me more and more trouble. Nobody normally, we have not seen any person who asks for the trouble, but Kunti Devi, we can see she's asking for the trouble so she can remember the Lord. Not like she wants a trouble, but this is the purpose she was doing that. And those troubles were not just for one night actually. She suffered that way for 14 years when all her kids were, or her children, all the Pandavas and Draupadi were in the forest, and that's where we can see. And she didn't even know when they were in forest that whether her children were actually alive or dead and what kind of trouble they are having. She was just praying the Lord all the time. That's it. And she was a well-wisher of Pandavas and she was wishing well for them. And Vidur was so noble and gentle person that time and time again he saved Pandavas so many times, So that way he was a great personality whom we are studying in this third canto. And Duryodhan we can see, and his all company, his all brothers and all his well-wishers, they actually conspired to kill the Pandavas. But Vidur was so soft-hearted and he was so loving that he tried to teach the evil mind Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan also. He was well-wisher of Duryodhan also and well-wisher of Dhritarashtra. Time and time again, he gave very good advice to Dhritarashtra that you please give up all these bad things, and come under the shelter of the Krishna. But somehow or the other, he didn't listen to that. He gave good advice, and also he all the time told what is the truth, real truth, and Vidur tried to correct Duryodhana also sometime. He gave good instructions to him, but Duryodhana was an evil-minded person, so he could not understand what he's trying to tell because he was so much intoxicated, really, completely empowered with the greed. So that way, he could not understand what he's trying to say. So he didn't listen anything what Vidura was saying. And Dhritarashtra, though it was different person, he really sometime he was so attached to the Duryodhana, and because of his association, he was acting in most sinful and abominable way because right in front of his eyes, Draupadi was disrobed and he didn't say anything. So he was a king, he could have stopped that, but he didn't say anything because he was so blinded by the love and the greed for the power and love of his son. So that's why. So one king shouldn't be really impartial, but he was not like that, He was completely fine. So the trust was evil. He became evil because of the association of Duryodhana. So we should actually associate with proper persons. That's a very important thing for us. If we associate with proper person, our mentality will be good, and then we can actually have our life in the devotional service. Otherwise, if associate with the evil persons, then our life will be bad. So we can see actually, and actually Dhritarashtra, if you see, Dhritarashtra was a bad man, he was blinded by the heart, but actually who we are to judge him actually, because we can see Dhritarashtra was a great personality. He was descendant in the Kuru dynasty. We know that he was one of the Kurus. He was elder brother of Pandu and Vidurji, and also he was son of great personality, Vyasdeva. So, and Vyasdeva is incarnation of the Supreme Lord. So we can know that how great birth he has. But just, and actually he was brought up by Vishnu Pitama himself, because Vishnu Pitama was taking care, he was feeding the kids, he was doing so many things for all these princes, all the people, all the Kauravas and Pandavas, he was helping them in the childhood, he was teaching them the proper education. So he was right from the birth, he had best birth and best family, but just because of association with one bad person, see how his whole life was spoiled. So we can imagine, how association can actually put us into big trouble, like not remembering the Krishna. That is the biggest, in this material world, if you see, what is the biggest danger? Actually, is not remembering the Krishna. That should be the biggest fear in our mind. Not these things, if I lose money, or if I lose house, or if somebody dies in my family. That should not be the greatest fear. Greatest fear should be not associating with Krishna, not remembering him. So that should be our goal. So we are studying Vidurji. So Vidurji was man of great wisdom. He had a lot of wisdom, and he knew what he should do and what he should not do. And he understood the Dhritarashtra's heart, that by heart he is good, but because he was not giving the attachment in association of his son, that's why. Otherwise, he can be a great person. Actually, he was a glorified person, but because of the association, Duryodhana only, everybody hates him. Actually, nobody likes him. That Dhritarashtra, we have never seen somebody put his son's name Dhritarashtra, because that people do not want to do that. So Vidura so many times he spoke to Dhritarashtra, telling that your attachment to this offense personified Duryodhana is very bad, actually, and you should actually give him up. But because he was so much attached, he could not do that. But he was actually, Dhritarashtra was in tears, because from heart he was a good person. And also, Duryodhana knew that his father actually was so much attached to him. So he will tell his father that, my dear father, don't do this. If you do anything like that, if you give any land to Yudhishthira or Pandavas, then I will commit suicide. And then Dhritarashtra will get frightened. And he will say that then you will be cause of my death. So that way, Dhritarashtra could not do anything against Duryodhana. Otherwise, Vidurji in the Mahabharata says that Vidurji, even when Duryodhana was child, he said, kill him now, because he will put everybody, all the Pandavas will be to the ashes. Actually, all the Kauravas, will be in ashes if Duryodhana is alive, and that same thing happened actually. So Vidurji knew right from the beginning, what kind of evil person Duryodhana was. And Duryodhana, Vidurji tried to preach the Duryodhana also, but Duryodhana was, his eyes, if he tried to teach him, he will get very angry with him, just like a serpent, and his eyes will be very, very red, and he will start harsh words against him, rude words, and he screamed many times to his uncle. He's not supposed to do that. He was so wise man, and he was prime minister in the Dhritarashtra cabinet, and he was actually insulted so many times. And he said, Duryodhana told him that if you do not leave this palace or this kingdom, this moment, then you will not have time to take another breath. That means he will kill him. So we can imagine how bad guy that was, that he's telling this kind of bad words to Vidurji. But Vidurji, you can see the greatness of Vidurji, that he didn't insulted Duryodhana, didn't say any word to him. He could have killed him actually. Vidurji also was trained in the beginning, and like when all the princes were being trained, so he has a lot of power. He used to carry bow with him, he could have actually killed him, but he didn't do that. He kept his bow and arrow in the corner, and he thought, this is what Krishna wants me to do. I will just go on my pilgrimage, and I will purify my existence. He was so pure devotee, he could have gone to Krishna directly, but he didn't do that. He thought himself that I'm in the politics with the Dhritarashtra and his son Duryodhana, and in politics, so I'm impure soul. So great devotees never think themselves that they are great devotees. They think that I am very fallen. So this is the characteristic of the great devotees. They all the time think that they are very fallen and they need to be purified. That's why he went to pilgrimage, so he can visit all the tirthas and visit all the great saints there and get the proper knowledge, how he can engage in the bhakti properly. So that should be the mood of a pure devotee, that they all the time want to learn from other persons as much as possible. And so we can see by all these things that Vidurji was great personality, because if you see in Kali Yuga, like all the people, we can see these materialistic people, all the karmis, how they are running towards the sense enjoyment. And if you think that we can preach the word of the God or try to do something, put forward of the mission of Lord, and people actually do not want to hear anything about Lord in the Kali Yuga, but devotees actually take this risk, preaching them, because they are all like Duryodhana in this material world. And we can see how courageous Srila Prabhupada was. He had no money, he was very old, and he has no knowledge of America, how cold it will be here, and he suffered so much. But still, because his Guru Maharaj wanted him to preach in the Western countries in the English language, he wrote so many books, and we can see how Krishna helped him. He saved him from all these troubles. Also, he had trouble, but he see the trouble. When we talk about trouble, actually trouble are in the mind. Actually, many times we suffer because our mind tells that we have that kind of experience before. But otherwise, it's a matter of consciousness. If we don't pay attention too much, like somebody tells us harsh word, then if we don't mind those words, then it will not affect us. But if we keep, oh my God, why he told me that, this kind of words, if we keep concentrating on that, then we cannot concentrate on bhakti. So it's a good thing, that we don't mind the bad people, if they say something to us, just ignore that. And also, like Vidurji, we should have some mercy on them, that we should pray to the Lord that please purify his mind, so he can remember you. So that is the kind of Mahabhagavasa thing, that mind, consciousness, that they actually preach that kind of thing and think that way inside for the other people. They have compassion for the people. And so we can see there is in 10th canto, 14th chapter, there is very nice verse actually, that how the Lord helps devotees, their troubles in this material world. If we are pure souls, even we have some pap karma collected in our life, Krishna can burn them and give us punishment for our bad things before we became devotee or in previous lives. He can make it so small. So let's look at Samashrita ye padapal pallava plavam mahat punyam Mahat Padam Punya Yasho Murare Bhavam Budhir Vatsa Padam Param Padam 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 Yat Vipadam Natesha. Saying that Padam Padam, there are so many vipdas, so many troubles in this material world, but if we have the mercy of Lord Krishna, those troubles will be very more almost changed or minimized. So it is just a matter of time. Change is a must, and that is guaranteed by the Lord, that this our all the papa karmas or what papa we are carrying, they will be burned. So the pious people, actually, Krishna is promising them that you don't worry about these things. People will try to cheat you, will try to do something against you, but you don't worry. Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita says that sadhus like Vidurji, actually, what presenting this, all what is presented in these scriptures, that we will have the trouble, but those trouble will be minimized to very little. Like if our whole hand will be chopped off, or our neck will be chopped off, Krishna will chop off our tip of the finger, that kind of thing. So this is the greatness of Krishna, how he saved his devotees. He all the time say in Bhagavad Gita, what he's saying, Ananya Chintayasto Mam Ye Jana Pariyupasate Tesham Nityabhiyuktanam Yogakshema Vahameham. So Krishna actually takes our Yogakshema. Once we put our life in the hand of Krishna, Krishna will definitely save us. And he will take care of us. We need not to worry about our things. Krishna is feeding so many animals. And all the fishes, elephants, who feeds them? Krishna feeds them. They are not worried about their food, but Krishna somehow or the other provides them. So now there is not too much time left, maybe 10 minutes. So what we will do, we will read, we will study a little bit about the Shakti-Aves avatar, like Srila Prabhupada was Shakti-Aves avatar. So this Shakti-Aves avatar actually are, people get all the Jiva souls, which Krishna wants to use them in his Leela. They are actually known as Shakti-Aves avatar. And about that, the Garma Samhita says that Shakti-Aves avatar, are given to the Jiva souls, who are very pious, good people, Krishna have full faith in them that he can actually perform this kind of duty, and they are actually given the responsibility. So there are two types of Shakti-Aves avatar. One is the Lord directly comes, and gives them Shakti. So this is known as Bhagavad Avesh, and like direct power. And sometimes he gives indirect powers, divine empowered forms. So all the Shakti-Aves avatars, they are the Jiva souls, not the Nitya Siddhas. And other thing, those Jiva Tattva becomes empowered by the Lord himself. And like we can see Dhanvantari actually was Jiva souls, but he inaugurated the medical science in this world. And so there are so many Jiva Tattva like that. And then there is Avesh, so this Avesh avatar like that, the Lord is directly giving them empowerment just for a certain time, and then under that power they can be. So secondary Shakti-Aves avatars are indirectly empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that empowerment is known as Vibhutis. Yeah. So we can see so many examples like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and they are Shakti-Aves avatars, Lord Buddha, Kapil Dev, Rishabh Dev, and Narayan Rishi. They all are this kind of examples of Shakti-Aves avatars. And so in Garga Samhita, we can see there are so many Shakti-Aves avatars, and Krishna gives them the Shakti. So we can see, so in the Garga Samhita, there are 6 types of categories of Shakti-Aves avatar. And like Sheshnag is empowered person. Then he got the Budharan Shakti, that Shesha can carry all the planets, universes, on his head, and he can carry all this weight because Lord Vishnu lies down in the bottom of the sea, and we can see that the Kamal Nal, the lotus stem coming from his umbilicus, and how many miles it is, so many miles, billions of miles, and still and there are all the 14 planetary system is in his umbilicus, but he can carry all the weight. So this is Bhudharan Shakti. Then Brahma got the Shakti of Srishti Shakti to create this cosmos, and that's known as Srishti Shakti. And then we can see the 4 Kumaras. They were empowered by distribution of the transcendental knowledge, Jnana Shakti. So that's 4 Kumaras got that kind of power. Narad Muni got empowered to distribute devotional service. That's why Narad Muni can go to any planet and wherever he wants, he can travel from this place to that place, within seconds. So he got the Bhakti Shakti. Then Prithu Maharaj, we can see Prithu Maharaj get empowerment for the ruling the people and maintaining the living entities. So Palana Shakti was given to Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj himself was incarnation of but he was Shaktavesh avatar. Also Parshuramji, he was empowered to cut down all the bad people, demons, all the Kshatriya kings who were behaving like demons. So that Shakti is known as Dushta Daman Shakti. So these different kind of powers are given to different people at different times, but they are for certain time, and then some other people. So these are the post, like Brahma is post, Shiva is post, and Indra is post. So these things, they work for the Lord to maintain and destroy and create this world on the Lord's order. And Lord fulfills like his leelas in this material world, and how that's a way with the help of these Shaktavesh avatars, he maintains this material world and runs this material world like that. So, and the Lord can take their power anytime he wants. If somebody says, I got the power now, I can do anything. That's not good, because Lord can actually empower him, like take away his powers within 1 second. Yeah, it won't take much time. So I will end here, and there is still 10 minutes. So if somebody has any question, comments, we can discuss it now. Thank you very much for listening and giving me this great opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you very much for the nice class. But who are all the Sakyavtas? You said Narada Muni, Prithu Maharaj, and Parsuram. And who else, Prabhu?
There are Brahma also, Kumaras, Prithu Maharaj, Parshuram. Yeah, they all are Shaktavesh avatars. That's Sheshanag. Sheshanag is also Jiva soul actually, but he got empowered that he can carry over all the weight of this whole cosmos actually. You can imagine how powerful he may be.
Okay.
So these are different incarnations of the Lord. Given
Is it Brahma? Is it Brahma?
Yeah, Brahma is also a human being actually. Jiva soul. That's why he's in this material world. He's not in the spiritual world. His planet, although is on the top of this material world, but he's still in the material world. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Anyone else have any comments, questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
It was very nice class, Prabhu. And I like the point you made, like, what should be our greatest fear? That was one really nice, Prabhu. We shouldn't be worried about money or family or anything. We have to always remember Krishna. And that should be our greatest fear. You explained very nicely, Prabhu.
Thank you. Yeah, if the money goes, house goes or somebody dies, these things goes, that's not a great thing actually, they can come back or doesn't matter actually. But if we lose Krishna, then everything is gone. Nothing remains. It's very important that we always remember Krishna, and that's why Krishna reminds us all the time that remember me all the time, remember me, think about me all the time. So if we can keep thinking about Krishna, even at the time of death, our next life birth is perfect. No problem. Krishna will take us to his lok or give us birth in a pious family so we can continue bhakti in the next life also. So for a devotee, actually, there is no problem whether he lives here or he lives Golok Vrindavan. The aim is the same, serving the Lord. So it doesn't matter. One should not worry about going back to Golok Vrindavan. Because pure devotees do not worry. They say, doesn't matter actually. Or either you can take me right now or I can continue preaching. So that is the mood of the pure devotees. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Like Pandavas, they just wanted only Krishna.
That's it.
So he is the one, like how many hundred that, like so many Akshanis they had, Kauravas, but he is equal to all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the spirit. That's how we had to take it.
Mm-hmm.
But in a human, we human beings, sometimes we get little nervous, Prabhu.
Mm-hmm.
That is the Maya, I think.
Yeah. Maya is so strong all the time, tries to pull our leg.
Yeah.
We have to be very careful. Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Anyone else? There's any comments, questions, reflections, anything?
At the time of death, Prabhu, well, that's the only one worry I have. At the time of death, whether I can say Krishna's name, or whether I think that material things. So sometimes I get worried a lot. So that is chanting more when we are active, chanting more of Krishna's name. That will, I think, that will give the strength at the end of the.
Yeah, Mata. Sure. Krishna says that if you cannot remember my name, I will come and remind you the name. So Krishna will come in the form of devotee, actually some devotees, and they will chant for you at that time when you are not. I just saw a devotee who leaving his body. He had a cancer, Jan, and I saw his death, how he died, so perfect. All the devotees 2 or 3 days before he died, they were continuously chanting and doing kirtan in his room and reading Bhagavatam and everything, giving him the classes of Bhakti Charu Maharaj, which was his guru. And so far and when he was dying, at that time, feeling very weak at that time, Bhakti Prem Maharaj called him. Phone was continuously in his ear, and Maharaj was telling him that remember Krishna all the time, And in that condition, when photo of Krishna was right in front of his eyes and all the devotees surrounded, so I thought how lucky he is, having this kind of, actually, that's very glorious.
That's very glorious.
Yes, living this material world. So we should be lucky enough to live in association of the devotees at the time of death.
Yeah.
So they can, if we cannot remind, they can remind, they can chant for us if we are in that condition that we cannot chant, like we are in comatose stage, still in our ears. Yeah, that devotee, he got Charanamrit and Tulsi, everything right before leaving the body. He knew he's going, so he had everything, and all the pure devotees were surrounding him, and very, very glorious death. So,
that's what I think, the Prabhu, what I don't know at the time of my last moment, whether I will get that kind of chanting or something, whether I can say his name, Krishna's name.
Right. If we have devotees in the house, they can chant for us. They can do the kirtan, so It depends how lucky we are. But remember,
see,
Krishna,
it has
Krishna
to be fallen on time.
Right. Krishna will give us that facility, actually, He will provide us. Krishna takes care of his devotees, If we are pure by heart, Krishna will fulfill our desire that our
aim
will be in front of the devotees.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Everything is done? Yes, my Oh, really? I didn't know. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Mataji,
Mataji.
muted Mataji.
Fine.
Hare
18. You could have done 12.
Thank you, Kaivalya Prabhu.
Krishna. Please mute.
Okay, we will end here.
Just a reminder,
Patitanam
Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai.
Today is
Thank you.
Ekadasi.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ekadasi today. Thank you.